Welcome to BS Session 130. They may have been to every other podcast already and been to PCC Worlds, but can they make it through this one?
That's the other
Push
button,
the goddamn button, show the intro.
But some of these bullets, as you saw, have an incendiary device on the tip of it, which is a heat-seeking device.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome to your weekly dose of BS, the Holistically Speaking podcast.
Hey, Taylor, you want to come on our super professional podcast? We totally know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Now let me grab a beer.
We rehearse this stuff. I gotta wash my hair.
I did my part.
Okay, now what?
Refreshing. I think we say some words.
That's as far as we got, yeah.
It's not if Taylor will make it, it's if we can make it through.
I disappear for 2 weeks and this show goes straight to hell.
See, it's your own damn fault.
Well, we're just waiting for you to take lead. You like to talk.
Well, you know, every once in a while, I try not to take lead, and everyone just stares at their screens,
right,
drooling on themselves until I do. So,
I don't like this.
Hey, how's this for taking lead? Our show is brought to you by Callsign 66, Canada's best rifle training. I did not eat all the glue. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Book a course now at callsign66.ca and follow them on Instagram at callsign66. That's the number 6. Also on Facebook at C/S66. Stay tuned. They have their 4-day combined fundamentals coming up August 1 through 4.
And from someone who uses, oh, come on. I had something really good there.
All right. Okay, fine. Go.
Jeez, well, it's kind of.
My ad read went just fine. I don't know what's going on with you guys.
All right. It's not funny anymore, but I was going to say Oscar uses a lot of glue. Ribstone gunsmithing. Craftsmanship done right. Contact Oscar, the glue user, at ribstonegunsmithing.ca and breathe life back into any firearm.
Also, we would be very remiss if we didn't say happy wedding.
That's right. Congratulations.
Just officially
Oscar
got hitched.
Yes.
What was it, last week?
Last weekend, yeah.
Last weekend, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
So, congrats to them.
Cheers to Oscar.
Cheers.
Well, and Nicole too.
We just booked our wedding venue today.
A wedding takes two people.
Yes.
Who just booked a wedding venue?
Mel and I. Well, Mel did.
Right. You have one scheduled, and she just scheduled one. Yeah. Awesome.
And we're also brought to you by Mark Scopes Canada. The Dion Optical Design line of rifle scopes has a scope for all your hunting and shooting needs. Find Doug and Nisa at markscopes.ca.
Apex Optics. When you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Check out all the fine competition rifle scopes, red dots, and binoculars at apexoptics.co. And just a quick note, Apex is tariff-proof. Canadian and international orders ship direct from their Calgary warehouse, which they got a new warehouse now, actually. Much nicer, much better. And we'll be offering on-site pickup if you are in the Calgary area, and American orders shipped from the great state of Texas. No tariffs, no hassle. And we have the Apex Pro Series qualifier match coming up this July.
Do you guys book
Mike is currently is writing in the show notes as we go, and that is the
clicking that you're hearing. Yes,
that is the click. That is the clicking that you're hearing, and that is the 5th, 6th.
No, it's the 11th of 12th weekend.
11th.
Sorry,
11th, 12th. Van just told me about it yesterday.
Yes. Anyways, that's much better.
Okay. We're also brought to you by EM Precision Rifles in Vegreville, Alberta, building Canada's finest precision rifles. Find Shane and Steve on Facebook, Instagram, and on their website at emprifles.ca. Would you like a specialized rifle? They specialize in all of them. I just made that up.
They're quite good.
They're quite good.
Quite
yeah.
good.
They're specialized.
All of them?
All of them.
Can I say the next?
All
ad?
right.
Yeah, go for it.
Can I go?
Go.
Bolt Action Coffee. Bringing specialty coffee to the precision shooting world. Order coffee and merchandise at boltactioncoffee.com in case you hadn't guessed.
I thought you were going to leave it there. Just Bolt Action Coffee. Next.
Next.
And we're also brought to you by Odell Engineering. Pick up a Canuck shotgun, Bergara rifle, or Apex ammunition from your local distributor and tell them Phil sent you. We also had a video recently about the Canuck Wrangler, and you can check that out on our YouTube. You are going to want to grab the tactical-looking one in 357.
Mike interjecting his own choices.
I'm saying, but you can look them up on Instagram, Facebook, and on their website at odellengineeringlimited.com.
I do have to say I'm pretty happy with the I got my left and right's weird here. My Trail Boss right there. That thing is it's pretty sweet. It's a 357 suite.
It is nice.
That's what I'm going to call it from now on. It's just called the 357 suite.
Okay.
That's my new cartridge. Every time I load a 357 Magnum round into that, it becomes a 357 suite.
It's because every time you push around it, it's like sweet.
Yep.
Sweet.
It's fire formed.
If you want it to go anywhere, don't tell Federal.
Can we try and work past this?
Yeah.
And last but not least, Sterling Arms International, home of the R18 Mark III and the R9. Contact them at sterlingarms.com and look out for an R9 arriving to a store near you. They're being shipped out to dealers on a regular basis now. So now's the time to buy one for your wife, your kids, and a second one for yourself. And we'll be talking to a guy who is today. We have our guest Taylor Reich here, and he is quite the Sterling Arms R9 and other PCC operators. Taylor, introduce yourself.
Hello,
Because
guys.
if we do it, we'll screw it up.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll probably screw it up myself. I'm Taylor Reich. I'm a competitive shooter. Used to be 3-gun. Now I've progressed into IPSC, mostly handgun, but in the last couple of years, it's also been pistol caliber carbine, PCC. Went on that journey once they announced that they were going to do a PCC Nationals, and I've won both of them so far. So it's kind of my side hustle is doing PCC stuff, and it's as fun, if not more fun, than handgun. So yeah, pretty well versed in all things PCC at this point. I kind of had to learn the platform and kind of trailblaze the sport as I went, because there's not much info out there, especially for Canadians who didn't really have access to the AR9, which was like kind of the worldwide standard. So we kind of just figured things out as we went. So yeah, 4-time Canadian national champion, two for handgun, 2 for PCC. That's where we're at right now.
Short, sweet,
That's
and to
it?
the point.
Only 4?
Short and sweet. Yeah. I like the color blue. Long walks on the
And
beach,
wrap it up.
cold beer.
Long walks across the Red Deer River.
Are you in Red Deer, Taylor?
No, I'm Calgary, born and raised.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bow River, South Saskatchewan. Take your pick.
Yeah.
Bow River. Yeah, I'm a Bow River boy.
I've never heard anyone say that. I'm a Bow River
Neither have I.
boy. Hi, my name's Taylor. I'm a Bow River boy. I like long walks on the beach and 9mm rifles.
Well,
So,
well,
The PCC was gay enough. We don't have to go there.
So you're talking about trailblazing PCC. What was that like when you first heard it? Hey, it sounds like we're going to be running some pistol caliber carbine matches. What initially were your thoughts? Like, were you all in on it? Were you kind of like, eh?
You know what? They had run the odd match here and there, just kind of recognized it in Ipswich, Alberta, at maybe a handful of times before 2023. Really, what kind of piqued my interest a long time ago, Lockhart announced the Raven, and I'm left-handed. And every single time a PCC came across, because like I said, I used to be a 3-gunner, so I am very, very well used to using a right-handed AR-15 as a lefty and having to, change out all the parts and get left-handed mag releases and figure out unique ways of running the bolts. And so when they came out with an ambidextrous PCC, I'm like, oh, that'd be cool if IPSC ran PCC. And around the time when they announced that it was going to be released, it was still like a year out. They said, yeah, we're going to do a PCC Nationals. I thought, okay, well, there's a gun that I could actually use as a lefty. And, I kind of want to try this. So what really sucked to this day is reloading the damn thing, like having to have 5 massive big sticks on your belt, knowing that every single one can hold 34 rounds, but for some reason that's dangerous. So yeah, it's we got a lot of messages from my American friends being like, I've never seen PCC 10 before. Like, they've got all these 10 round divisions in the US, but PCC is not one of them. So they're like, this is hard to watch sometimes.
Gotta get
So, like having to come up with like a belt that can hold that many mag pouches and like shooting against handgun shooters where reloading is a lot easier. Like get a big stick out and then in a rifle when everyone's just like move on. It's frustrating, but the biggest thing when I talk about trailblazing was the fact that we had all these kind of outlaw guns that you typically wouldn't see in practical shooting, like a lot of all the BNTs, like the FX9, just a bunch of random guns that no one in the US or abroad would ever choose to shoot, right? Like they're just not considered competitive. They're not race guns, right?
Yeah.
So trying to turn a regular blowback brand new platform into a race gun was interesting. Learned a lot of lessons with that. Learned a lot about the blowback and delayed blowback and breaking firing pins, and it was a journey.
Tough technical journey. So go through your first match shooting PCC. What was that like?
This almost sounds like a test, Derek, the way you put this together so far.
I'm interviewing the person.
We're setting the stage.
I see.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to get information out of this guy. I mean, I could interrogate him with the duct tape and the waterboard, but
Booster
I
cables.
find this
That
method
sounds
is
like a new
easier.
series. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta remember my history now, because that was 2023. So I get the gun in January of 23, and I think we had 3 or 4 matches before nationals. Like they announced PCC Nationals was going to be in Halifax at the start of May. I think it was May 4th. So there may have been 1 or 2 matches before then. It may have been middle of May, but it was early season. So
yeah, May, that's early. Beginning of May too. Jesus.
Yeah, and it was exactly what you would expect in Halifax. It was pouring rain for 3 days straight, so that was miserable. But yeah, I mean, my first match, I kind of had the gun figured out. It was very much it was the case of everyone else is in the same boat as me trying to figure this out. So as long as I'm a little bit faster, I'm all good. And so, like a lot of my friends from back in the 3-gun days, we chose PCC because it was kind of, a little bit of a throwback. We get to shoot a rifle in a handgun match, right? So like Wes Stevens and Justin Thompson and Everett Polito, like we all shot 3-gun back in the day. So we all decided we'll pile in not the van we flew, but we'll go to Halifax. We'll see how this goes. And it was a ton of fun. Like nationals was a lot of fun. There was a lot of there's a lot of, I mean, the challenge of the weather itself was daunting, but you know, you're used to shooting handgun matches with targets at 5 to 20 meters, and now you're having to hit the dirt and shoot a bunch of mini poppers at 100 meters, all while like trying to figure out where to hold so as I don't like block the ejection port, and that screwed me because I'm just like, well, why is my gun not running? Well, I've got like brass in my thumb. But it was you figure it out. It was, my gun ran fine for the whole match. My ammo was great, so it was just, you know, it's a different flavor of IPSC.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of fumbling, but like you said, everyone is in the same boat. So it's speed fumbling competition.
Yeah.
Do you think IPSC shotgun's going to take off yet, or?
You know, there's a guy at our club he's already run a few matches this year, and he's kind of all in. A bunch of us, we ended up getting the nice mag load rigs, like the quad loading rigs from over in I think they're from England, through Double Tap, and that took a long time. But you know, it's a lot of fun. It's a very interesting sport. It's way different than all of the other IPSC disciplines. The learning curve is so much steeper. Like, you can't just, I mean, if you give a guy who shot IPSC handgun a PCC and a different belt, you know how it works, right? Like slide release, bolt release, safety, trigger. I got to reload this box into this thing, right? Yeah. Whereas you give a guy a shotgun, and if he's never even heard of quad loading or, you know, load 2 or anything like that, it's like, when I learned it back in the 3-gun days, it was a month of a lot of bloody thumbs and cracked nails and whatnot. The learning curve for that sport is so steep, and we already lost all of our open division shotguns. I think they're trying to push another shotgun nationals next year if they can find someone to run it. But I mean, yeah, it's a hard sport to also, you know, run well. You need a whole bunch of these falling plates that you don't, like most IPSC clubs just have the target stands for the paper, right? And unless you're shooting slug or buck, you're not using those. You're always using just falling steel. So you're going to have to invest a lot of money just to do that, or clay stands and whatnot. But it's fun. Like, that was the first IPSC match I ever shot. First level 3 I ever shot was shotgun nationals, and it was so much fun. And then OIC happens, and all the open guys lose their Typhoons and their Darias, and that was it. But I mean, yeah, we've talked about that a lot, that it may be the only thing left after a while is IPSC shotgun. So that might be the only path forward. So I went out and got one of those Benelli Nova Speeds, because I'm like, okay, no rules, yeah. There's no laws. It's like full capacity. I don't have to worry about, you know, if I fly somewhere, it's a shotgun. I don't have to explain why I have this rod pinned at this length in the magazine. And yeah, it's no hassle. Go anywhere in the world and I can compete the same as I do back here. So
yeah, the universality of a shotgun is pretty good. So
I think it's slept on. Give it 2-3 years. IPSC shotgun will be the thing.
There's so many things you don't think about, like handgun. You never have to worry about, oh, what choke am I going to use here? Like, what shot size, what you know, like what ammo runs in my gun? Like, does this slug shoot a foot left at 60 meters like it did in one of my shotguns? Like, just the different types of ammo and the chokes and learning to load. It's so niche, but it's really interesting.
That's the IPSC that I want to try the most, and I'm trying to see who's going to put on the biggest show, or where's it going to get popular, because I want to kind of head in that direction. Because I think down by Calgary is probably going to be the epicenter of it, if not for a couple clubs in Ontario.
Yeah, probably Ontario. IPSC BC has ran a couple sanctioned matches already. I think they ran one earlier this year. They probably got 60, I think it was 60 shooters, which is huge. Like, I think nationals was only 85. I could be wrong on that, on the BC match, but I know it was a success. So what we find here, because we're running outlaw matches, they're not sanctioned IPSC matches, is more than half the guys they're more tactical focused, right? They've got a Beretta 1301 tactical and a bunch of like those cards in mag pouches.
Yeah.
So you're loading one at a time, right? So I don't know if that kind of shooter is going to go all in on, you know, a race rig and, you know, a Nova speed or something like that. It's just not their game. They just want to shoot shotgun in a practical shooting environment kind of thing, right? But who knows? It might take off.
That's where my money's at. I have an old. I wanted to do 3-gun initially, and then I got an M3K sitting there. I'm like, I want to use this somewhere practical.
Oh yeah, that was the go-to for people on a budget back in the day because it would actually run. There were so many shotguns that just didn't run, even the expensive ones.
That was me, as I needed something and I was on a budget.
Yep. A lot of guys just threw a different extractor in there, and it was just chugging along. Missed the
now
three
that
days.
now that we've derailed the topic off of IPSC, so you were at the World Shoot.
Yeah.
How was that?
Okay. There was a lot of things that went wrong around the match. Like our travel, our flights got canceled the day before. We had to reschedule, and I left my camera on the plane. It was, it was Delta, but it was who was it operated by?
Oh,
no, that one was
WestJet.
Delta. No, it wasn't. It was Air France. It was Air France going to Paris, and then I can't even remember who the operator was going to Prague, but it was all booked through Avion. So like things just got shuffled around last minute, and then they're like, yeah, you got a half an hour layover in Amsterdam. And we're like, well, our bags aren't going to make it. So that's not going to work. Then we get there, and I left my little Insta 360 brand new camera on the plane, so that was dumb of me. So there's $500 down the drain, and then we get to Prague, and because we're a couple hours late, we go to pick up our rental car, and they said, well, our policy is if you're more than 2 hours late, we cancel your booking, even though we had paid in full for it. So that we're already really stressed, and then that happened. And so, okay, if anyone doesn't know, we obviously couldn't take our own PCCs to the World Shoot because everything got banned. And so we had to rent PCCs there and buy ammo there. And so we got in touch with Da Vinci Machining, and they came through for us. They let us rent all of their DG9s, which are very similar to how I had my Raven set up. They're just nicer, like an actual AR9. And the guns themselves were flawless. Like 5 dudes on a squad, 550 rounds in the whole match, and not a single one of them had any kind of feeding, extraction, any malfunction. But our ammo, especially you guys are precision shooters, so this might make you cringe. It makes me cringe as a practical shooter. The best group that I could punch with that ammo that we got was about 4 inches at 25 meters. And we're shooting targets, like most of the stages are under 25, but there's a whole pile of them that are between 25 and 81 meters. And Wes Stevens gets up to this long range stage with 12 shots at the back at 81 meters. And he's a good rifle shooter. And he had 10 mics out of 12 shots. I had like one, and it was like 2 Delta, Charlie Delta, 2 Delta. And we had no idea where that ammo was flying around to. So that was disappointing.
Spotting your impacts at that distance with those optics is not really a thing either. So
no, yeah. And if you don't know, for IPSC PCC, you're not allowed any magnified optics. That's one of the few things you can't have. You can't have a bipod, you can't have coupled magazines, and you can't have magnified optics. So we're sitting there with a red dot. Like I'm running all the Apex stuff. Mel was running all the Apex stuff, and they were awesome. They were phenomenal the whole time. And I'm like, I couldn't even see an impact out there if I wanted to. It's on paper targets, right? So it's not reactive. And then they come back and they're like, yeah, you had a miss. And you couldn't inspect your targets if they were beyond 50 meters because of match flow. They're like, yeah, if it's beyond this, we'll just tell you what your hits were, and that's it, right? But they would just say you had a Delta. I'd be like, well, is it left, right, down, up?
Yeah.
Like, where is it? And they'd be like, no, we're not telling you that. Yeah. They said if you had a miss on target, they'd pull the target if you wanted to confirm it, and they'd bring it to you. So I'm sitting there hearing all the calls, and it's 2 Delta. I'm like, just give me a mic so I can see where the other hit was. And I had one mic, and so they pulled the target. I'm like, hey, I'm hitting 12 inches lower than I thought I was. I punched everything into Strellock for a PCC, and it said that my secondary 0 was exactly at 80 meters, and that's what I'm used to here. Like with the Sterling, with FH ammo, my 2 zeros are 25 and 100, and with the Raven, it's 25 and 81, and that's what it told me for that stuff. And it was like that far off. So yeah, and then Evie gets up, shoots the same stage, and he's same thing but 12 inches high. So that was kind of brutal. The guns were awesome. We shot okay. The ammo was kind of what let us down. I also kind of shot like a clown on a few stages. I've never, not never. It's been probably 4 or 5 years since I got an FTE, like a failure to engage, ran by a target, and I got 2 of them at Worlds. So that's doesn't matter how good my gear was. That was
yeah.
I was pretty dumb there.
You can't get impacts on a target you don't shoot at. It's a little bit difficult. Yeah.
So is it like a pretty high course of fire? Like it was stuff you've never seen before, or?
No, it was like most IPSC shooters will tell you when you go to Worlds, the stages are generally pretty simple for the fact that you've got, I think there was 1,100 shooters there that you've got to get through in 6 days. So they can't, and you get 3 minutes for a walkthrough. Like here in Canada, at least all the matches out here in Western Canada, if you go to an IPSC match, the night before they'll have it set up and you can walk the stages. And then when you get your walkthrough in the morning, you get 5 minutes. At Worlds, didn't matter if it was like a 8-round stage or a 40-round stage, you get 3 minutes and everyone's piling through, and you're just trying to find where everything is, right?
Yeah.
You're not even really coming up with like a really elaborate stage plan. You're just trying to find where everything is. And that's where I got a little flustered and I ran by one target. But the stages, like it was pretty similar to what I trained for. Like I knew that, like in the rule book, it's mandated that 90% of the targets have to be 0 to 50 meters and then 10% between 50 and 100. So I trained proportionally for the distance stuff, but I knew, okay, if it's not my gun, not my ammo, unless I have a 100-meter bay to sight in on, I don't know where I'm hitting. So there's only so much I can do. So there's only so much work I'm going to put into it, right? But all the stuff within 50, that was all stuff that I had trained for, like watching the matches that they hold in Europe, especially at that range. They had held a PCC Czech Nationals the year before, and it was pretty similar to that. So a lot of targets between kind of 20 and 40. And I mean, if you're a handgun shooter, it's a way different game when you gotta, stop and get your sights on and boom, boom. It doesn't look, flashy and elaborate like a super fast handgun match. There's some stuff where you're like, you run, bang, bang, run over here, bang, bang. And it's just, even if the stages are simple, you still got the top shooters in the world that pressure's on you. Like that's kind of looming over you. You're like, this is an easy stage, but that guy's going to do it 0.3 of a second faster than me. And that's going to be the difference. Right.
Yeah.
So, and that there was one stage that it was a super fast speed shoot. I posted on the CCFR. I don't know if you guys saw it. And it was just like one dropped out of the way and it exposed the target, and then it dropped out of the way immediately. You had half a second to shoot it. And I thought I crushed it. Like I had my activation sequence so good. And it was 10 rounds, 3 Charlie. It was like a 12 hit factor. And I was 85%. That was one of the best stages I've ever shot in my life. And I was 85% of the world champion. So it's humbling. Everyone's on a different level over there.
Well, different level, but you didn't have your regular gear too. So to be in the 85 percentile is not bad either.
No, that's not. I think I ended up 77% overall, and that I've told everyone so far that if I would have had my own gear and my own ammo, I probably wouldn't have done better than 85. Like I wouldn't have broken into the top 50. I don't think. The level of skill worldwide is just that good, and it's our first world shoot too, right? Like it's hard to expect that you're going to do better than people who have been here 5 or 6 times and put in the same level of training as you, right? If they know what to expect, if all they have to do is drive down from Austria or Germany, or it's not an ordeal for them, and they've done this for 10 years, then like, and not to make excuses, but you're a newcomer, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can only do so much, right?
Yeah.
How do you know what to expect when you have no idea what you're getting into?
Yeah. And we saw some of the other people training, and I knew watching people in the last few weeks training, I'm like, I am not capable of that, and it would take me a long time to be capable of that. And I've got a handgun world shoot right after this, so you know, you gotta manage expectations.
Balance that that training time and efforts. So how many stages did Worlds comprise of?
So Worlds has to be 30 stages, any discipline. And so the way it's run is a 5-day format. You'll always shoot 6 stages every day for 5 days. You'll have 1 day off. So we shot Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, had Thursday off, shot Friday, Saturday. And if people don't know the way the IPSC format works, it's mandated that you have 3 short courses, so 0 to 12 rounds for every 2 medium courses, 12 to 24 rounds, to every 1 long course, which is 24 to 40 in PCC. And so every single day you will shoot 1 long, 2 mediums, and 3 shorts every day. And it was like shooting a weekend match 5 days in a row. So like you get there and you just realize, okay, this is just like, it's a big event, but it's just another match, right?
Yeah,
This is a lot.
There's nothing particularly special about it when it comes to the shooting. You still have to punch holes in paper. You still get scored. There's nothing particularly special about it.
So, like, obviously, you know, you're shooting for 5 days. Like, what's the endurance factor like? By the end, are you just getting garaged down and kind of, or are we able to keep keep that energy up throughout?
I was fine. This is something that we kind of treated this as a learning experience for South Africa, because you're going to another continent. You're gonna have jet lag. Well, probably gonna have jet lag, and then you have to kind of get your sleep schedule right, get your eating habits the same way you had back home, so that your mental game is kind of the same, right? So I don't know if I was just lucky or what, but we got to Prague and I just forced myself to stay up until 10 p.m. that night, and I had 0 jet lag, and I had 0 jet lag coming back. I got back on a Thursday night at 9 p.m. and I went to work on Friday and I was fine. But like a bunch of the people in our group, like Mel, she struggled with the jet lag. She had 2 nights during that week that she did not sleep. She had maybe 45 minutes of sleep. So, that's something that, like, even if you do everything right, that you think is right, you don't know how your body's gonna react to that, right? And then you get up and you go to shoot, and you're not in the same mindset that you are back home. Like, you might feel a little more stressed or more, scrambled in your brain, kind of thing. But no, I felt like in terms of pacing, the 5 days, I wasn't exhausted by the end of it. Like, I wouldn't say, oh yeah, I'll just keep shooting another 5 days, but I didn't feel like by the 5th day I was broken and bloodied and whatnot. Like, I still felt good. Oh, there's Justin. But yeah, there was definitely some worries about fatigue, because I mean, like, Mel has a hard time getting through a weekend match where you do work shoot, and so she's like, how am I going to do this for 5 days? And like I said, they punch 1,000 people through in 6 days. So when you shoot 6 stages in 1 day, you're there for 3 hours. You get 6 stages in 3 hours. So as long as you're not partying every night and you're kind of treating your body properly, it's not that bad. Like, you're on the range for 3 hours, and then you have lunch, you spend the rest of the day exploring, or go back to the hotel room and nap. And that's generally what we would do. Like, we'd kind of explore Znojmo and the place that we were, which actually wasn't in Czech Republic. We didn't realize until we got there that we had booked an Airbnb that was like, here's the border, Czech Republic, Austria, and we're right here. Like, the apartments were a former, I think they were like a former barracks for that checkpoint. That was the Iron Curtain between Czech Republic and Austria. And we were on the Austrian side. So it kind of played out well for not having guns, because if we would have brought our own guns, we would have been in a lot of trouble, because we had permits for Czech Republic, but not Austria. So that could have gone pretty badly.
Wow.
Is that big of a patchwork issue? Is that because, well, the EU is one thing, but you still have to get your permit for each individual country that you're in? Does that include like flying too? Like if you get diverted from like Heathrow to Germany, your SOL?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. If you Heathrow's a good example, because if you land in England with guns, you're going to jail, even if you didn't plan to go there. And we're dealing with that right now because we're trying to scramble plans for South Africa, and we're trying to figure out what do we need for permits going through Germany, because we're going Calgary, Frankfurt, South Africa, and we can't find any information. What permits do we need for Germany, if any? What permits do we need for Lufthansa? Like it's actually way more of a nightmare this time going down to South Africa than it was Czech, because the team that put on the PCC World Shoot, they had all the information out long ahead of time. They were on top of everything. They said, here, fill out this form, send it to me, and I'll get it approved by the Czech police, and then that's all you need. And then as long as you're not bringing hollow points, all the ammo is legal here. So it was not that bad dealing with permits going to the Czech Republic. But man, like there's other places, South Africa is one of them, where if you don't know what, we just found out while we were in Czech Republic that not only can we carry our guns in South Africa, we have to carry our guns unless there's a safe in our hotel room. So if you don't have a safe in your hotel room, you are mandated to bring that with you and walk the streets. So it's like flying to another country.
Mandated possession at all times.
Yes, mandated possession at all times. So, I'll say that Czech Republic was really, I mean, as far as other countries, not including the US, because I dealt with that so much, it's a breeze now. Czech Republic was not as hard it wasn't as much of a headache as I was expecting. Mind you, Mel did a lot of the work for that. So
props to her.
But I think she'd agree with me.
As he looks up for approval.
Czech Republic CZ, they're kind of known for having firearms in that area. It can't be too bad.
Yeah. We dropped by the CZ store. We talked to the guys for an hour about their laws and our laws. They were aware of our situation and what was getting banned. Like I was really surprised they knew quite a bit about our situation, and they're like, yeah, that's always looming on the horizon here as well. Like the EU, they banned high capacity magazines, and Czech's like, okay, cool, exemption. Exemption for this, exemption for that, because they're like, we're not dealing with that. But yeah. Czech. Oh, yeah. I saw someone brought up the Czech beer was amazing, by the way. I saw that pop up on the screen.
Yeah.
I got to try the original Budweiser. But Budweiser I learned was originally from Czech Republic. Like the guys from the US flew over there. They liked this beer, so they copied it and brought it back to the US. And they're not allowed to sell Budweiser, labeled Budweiser in Europe, because the Czech Budweiser is the OG.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like a branding thing as opposed to like a style thing, or?
I mean, obviously that Czech Budweiser it's better. It's a little bit more craft beer than just like, a straight up rice pilsner. But no, we had a lot of the Staropramen. That was their kind of go-to national beer. There was a few others, but man, I had a lot of that. And yeah, it's fantastic. Their wine is fantastic. We were in wine country down in Znojmo. Is like you're just driving through fields of white wine, and it's no joke cheaper than water. If you walk into like a little what do they call them? But like they're little corner stores. There's a name for it.
Bodega.
Like a bodega. Yeah. But there's a Czech name for it. I can't believe I forgot it. But yeah, and then you go to the bottled water, and it's like 180, 200 Corona, and then a bottle of white wine's like 120 Corona. And the beer's no different. Like the wine and beer there is it's so good and so cheap. Like it makes it hard to buy water.
It makes alcoholism pretty fashionable then.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why they're so chill in Europe, is because they're hammered half the time.
Well, and they were like so clean there. like, I mean, Calgary's a pretty clean city, but we're driving through all of these small towns and even Prague. Like there was a few places in Prague where there'd be some garbage on the ground, but what a clean country. Like, I mean, they've got some old rundown buildings because they had to deal with communism, but they're a really clean country.
Yeah.
Well, they still got some older buildings that probably look fantastic compared to what we got in Calgary.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Just jumping back to the international community, what was their major? Was there a lot of reaction to? We're glad you guys are here. We're sorry your gun laws are so terrible. Were you guys like swapping stories of whose gun laws are the worst, who's the best? Was there a highlight of someone's gun laws that are better than ours that you didn't know?
I mean, like things move so fast there that we did have a bunch of conversations. So we were squatted with the Croatian team, and in Croatia, they were telling us about their laws, and they said, yeah, handguns not allowed in Croatia, and PCC is not a thing there because they have 10-round mags. So in Croatia, they don't even bother running PCC because they can only have 10-round mags. So they all cross the border into Slovenia to shoot their matches. But like the Americans, they knew what our situation was. Like one of my longtime Instagram friends that I had never met before went out for lunch with him and his fiance with Mel, and we're swapping stories about, you know, the gun laws down in, because he's from Arizona. He's like, we're awesome right now, but they same thing. Like they always have people bringing stuff up, and he knew our situation. And at the closing ceremonies in Prague, the vice president of IPSC, he brought up a lot of gun bans that are happening worldwide. And so he's like, we are pushing very, very hard. He's very serious about it to be an Olympic sport. Because he said, like, if it becomes an Olympic sport, it's going to be really, really hard for a lot of these countries to say there's no legitimate use for them, right?
Yeah.
So
that would help.
And let's be honest, even the blandest IPSC shooter is a bit more exciting than some of the current Olympic pistol shooting. Not that it's not skillful, but one's much more spectator friendly.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
But spectator value is not as much. So
actually one conversation we did have with a guy from Austria. He was a Swiss guy living in Switzerland, working in Austria. Anyway, he told us about the Austrian laws. He said you can have 10 guns, you can have 10 ARs if you want. They all have to be permitted, and then they have the same magazine restrictions for the rest of the EU. But he said there's one type of gun that you can't have in Austria, and I bet none of you are going to guess what it is, or maybe you will, because I made
black
it sound
powder.
So. No,
blunderbuss.
I was just going to say blunderbuss.
You're not allowed to have a pump action shotgun.
What?
Oh.
You can have a semi-auto shotgun. You can have a box fed semi-auto shotgun. You can't have a pump action.
That's
because in the 80s they had some bank robbery where a guy used a pump action shotgun, and they thought this is too dangerous.
Brilliant.
So politicians are just as stupid over there as they are here.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what we said.
Interesting.
So if IPSC does get it approved as an Olympic sport, how do you think the best way for them to cover it is?
Oh, like cover it as a sport, like in the media?
Like how are they going to actually broadcast it, kind of thing? Like, what would be your ideal way that they do it?
Oh man, you know, it's okay. Right off the hop, you'd have to have people within IPSC running that. I think drones would have a big role to play in that. You could also have a lot of like the cameras like up on the berms, like facing down. You could have RO cameras, like the range officers following the shooter. That would be a great option.
That's easy.
Because once it becomes an Olympic sport, you're going to have a lot of people coming out of the woodwork that wouldn't have shot IPSC or even been interested in guns, but they want to be an Olympic athlete, right? And they're going to get into it, right? So there would be a big explosion in popularity. So it would have its growing pains for broadcasting. But like USPSA tried to live stream a couple of their nationals, and it was like they put a lot into it. But when I was watching at home, it was like half the time it's filming an empty bay and there's nobody there, or it's someone's walkthrough. So you'd have to be really on it on like who are the best shooters follow them around, make sure that they're being live streamed. There was a video a few years ago of a company from Russia covering the big IPSC match in Russia, and they made it look like it was coverage from the Olympics. Like they had commentary as the shooter was going. They had like their scores in the bottom corner. They had their time, and they would do like a kind of debrief after the shooter was done and approve their scores. They would talk to them, and like that's how I see it. That's how I see it working in the Olympics. But it's more how IPSC would be brought into the Olympics. Like, would they say you're not allowed like certain kinds of courses of fire? Would it be only open division? Like I've thought about this. Like we send a total Canadian team of 20 shooters, so the top 4 in every division minus revolver, because why? So you got 20 shooters in every country. How are you going to fit that into an Olympic event? That's 1,000 competitors. I don't know of any other Olympic sport that would have that many people, right?
Yeah.
So would they just have open? Is it like top 1 person from each division? Would they just say top 2 men, top 2 women, regardless? Like there'd be a lot to figure out if it was an Olympic sport, but I hope it becomes one. That would be it would just be good for the shooting community as a whole, not just IPSC, not just me. But if like I hate when people always bring up the IPSC exemption, because I don't support just us having an exemption to have a handgun. But if that was the only thing, okay, well, at least there's a path for other people to get in, and then they can go do their own thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but yes, it would be a huge win for the shooting community for that to be an Olympic sport.
I ask because we're trying to do. We're thinking about trying like how do we stream PRS matches so people can see it and enjoy it better. Because if you're not going to do it properly, it's almost to the point of don't do it because you're going to make it look bad. So I was curious what your thoughts on how to do it at an Olympic level, because the Olympics is half sport and half how much can we get people to show up and actually watch this. Because some of the events are not that exciting.
No.
As much as they are rooted in history.
Well, and I mean, even PRS, like I don't know if you guys know Tristan Rutledge, but he's on the Canadian Olympic team for skeet. And I'm like, I appreciate the level of skill that he has to do that. But if I just watched him shoot trap, like I don't know what he's aiming at. I don't know what he's hitting because I don't shoot trap, right? Or skeet or whatever it is. Unless they have like the purple cloud when they hit it. Like I don't know what I'm looking at. Right. And it's kind of the same for PRS. I've shot a couple rimfire PRS matches that were more like classes at my local club. Like probably the best money I've ever spent, $5 to have was it Mike Turner? Like basically teach me everything there is to know about ballistics. And this is
Mike's good shit.
I would pay $300 to do this again. If I was in the US, you'd be paying hundreds of dollars. And so gaining an appreciation of that, like I've always been fascinated with PRS, and that's a different skill set of shooting that I'm really interested in. But if like I watch guys on Instagram and I'm like, I don't know where you're shooting. It's 500 meters away. Like, I can recognize you've built a really solid position there, and your rifle's not moving, and you're running the bolt really quick. But like I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
we've had to cut ties with Tristan Rutledge. We had him on the podcast a while ago, and he stated that, of course, he shoots an over-under for trap, and he stated that a side-by-side is far inferior. And, well, that pissed Oscar off with Ribstone Gunsmithing. So that boy.
And then we just got offended on Oscar's behalf.
That's right. Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah.
Okay. This Oscar you're talking about, is his last name Long? Is it Oscar Long?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Also known as Ribstone.
It is. Oh, I've shot with Oscar.
Gunsmithing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
I shot 3-gun with Oscar back in the day.
So the next time you see him, just make sure that you tell him that, we were saying that he got upset and we were offended on his behalf, and we stuck up for him. And, but make sure especially to tell him that he was upset. He was very upset.
I'll tell him.
You know how sensitive Oscar is.
I haven't seen him in a few years now. He's up like, Where is he? Like Prince Albert kind of area?
Czar,
Or is it south of
Alberta.
that?
Yeah, sorry, Alberta. Yeah.
The metropolis of Czar, I should say.
They got some spicy hot wing challenge there now, I think, at Czar. They make you
What?
sign a form. At the Czar bar, they make you sign a form.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
You know,
Road trip.
I love it when all these little tiny towns have one business in it that actually is like has good ideas and they kill it. You know, like one of the best donuts you can get in central Saskatchewan now is in Delisle. You got to drive all the frickin' way to Delisle to get these amazing donuts. Now
mean,
to
it
get
is
good hot
Saskatchewan,
wings, we got to go to
so-
Zara, Alberta.
You got to go to Derwent for pizza, though. Derwent,
See, that's what I'm
Right.
telling you.
Pizza.
I
You
think
got to go where?
I think we should do a
Derwent.
Western Canada tour, culinary tour.
We could do that. That could be a video, you know.
Could be.
What was the name of that town you said, Mike?
Rogan.
Derwent.
What the hell is a Derwent?
It's a town. Well,
It's a
I should say
town.
was a
It's a
town.
mythical creature.
Yes.
Where is this supposed to be?
North of Vermilion.
North of Vermilion. There's nothing there but deer and bushes
Yeah, it's great for hunting. That's where I went to get
and
pizza.
and,
after.
and
Have you ever
pizza.
seen that guy? What's going
Deer's
on
good
in
enough for me.
Western Canada or whatever the heck?
Oh, are you talking about that guy who always has the hockey shirt on?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That guy's from town, you know. He's from Saskatoon.
Is
Oh,
that
you know
right?
Leroy.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Okay. We should. What is this? We should definitely do a food video. Hook it up with Maddie Matheson or something. I don't even know who Maddie Matheson is. That is a stupid name. It sounds. I'm gonna
Another
insult.
mythical creature.
I'm gonna insult some guy who's as big as half Thor Bjornsson or something. But I'm just gonna say that Maddie Matheson
Matty
sounds
Matheson
like you were.
from Derwent.
Well, he sounds like he's a Marvel
Matty
character.
Matheson's the big guy. He's the big chef.
He's on the
Big
Food
jolly
Network.
chef guy.
That doesn't help
Yeah.
me. He sounds like he was named by Stan Lee.
Could be.
Not enough nerds in this channel to get the big chuckles out of that one.
Mhm.
Oh, I know.
Stan Lee always named characters for
slow
this first name and last name is always the same letter. No.
Nerd.
Reed Richards, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
No,
The
nothing.
best Marvel movie was Blade, and that's the extent of my comic book video
Awkward.
knowledge.
Okay. Well, I did my best.
You tried, Chris. You tried to
All
get
right.
a little tidbit out.
Back to
Back-
Taylor here.
Back to
Back to
Taylor.
this.
December 2024.
Nope, back to me.
The OIC came in. What was that day
Oh,
like
man.
for you guys?
Way to rip that
Oh,
band-aid
okay,
off.
so yeah. Oh man, I had forgot about that, and you just bring up the past like that.
Oh, the trauma.
This is
So okay, I was under the impression that something was coming anyway. Like I follow Tracy of the CCFR pretty closely, and I follow the rumor mill of what's happening in the government, and so I knew I knew something was coming, and I knew if something was coming, that something was probably going to be my guns. I mean, everything that I have is semi-auto, center fire, box fed mags, right? So, and I'd been through the 2020 ban, so I kind of braced myself for that. Mel had not, because she wasn't a gun owner then, and she became a gun owner. She got her handguns like right under the wire in 22. So she hadn't been through, the experience of having something that you use a lot and means a lot to you, and then you're watching on the news that it's being stripped away from you. So that was really hard for her. Like, she was really upset. I learned my lesson from the first time that, yeah, I'm very angry, but I can't let it consume me, because I'll go crazy. There's nothing I can do about it, right?
Yes, you can. You can
Hmm.
absolutely let it consume you if you really want
Oh
to.
yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, I learned that.
Chris had
in
hair
2020,
before
right?
the 2020 OIC.
Yeah, well, no, that's entirely true. In like March, well, I'd say February of 2020, I had a full head of hair, and then we had two things
did
back
lose
to
your hair
back.
from the
One of them
gun
in March of 2020, the other one in May of 2020, and now I'm the beautiful bald man that you
Yeah,
see before you.
He still has the eye twitch too.
Yeah.
That never goes away.
But,
Derek used to have an
that day
afro,
was
fun
that day
fact.
was rough.
Derek used to have an afro.
What?
I
What?
did. Yeah,
Yeah, Derek used to have an afro.
I used to have an afro. I can't find a picture.
No. If I
Okay.
hang out with you guys much longer, I'm gonna lose my hair.
Yeah, that's very possible, actually. Okay, just so you guys know, do you guys know? I'm way into the weeds now. Too late, Taylor. I know you were in the middle of answering a question. I apologize because you're our guest, and I should let you speak. But fuck it, here we go. Do you
Just
guys
let
know
the
what?
rope go? The horse is gonna drag you.
Yeah.
Go, Chris.
Do you guys know what Midjourney is?
It's between
no.
beginning journey and post journey.
No, Midjourney is a large language model art program. It's like an AI art program that's kind of generally recognized as kind of like the premier AI for generating art. They just announced today, Kurt, you wake the fuck up. I will punch you in the dick. You wake up. Okay, they just announced today. They just announced today that they have launched a video making model. And I now need several photographs of Derek, like profile, like front face, side face, 3/4, the whole 9 yards. Okay. So that I can make a video. Just hear me out. I need to make a video with Midjourney. I have a subscription to it, so we're good to go. Of Derek with an afro, and so I can caption it like April 29th, 2020, and then have it all like explode and fall off to the man that he is today, and put May. What day was it? May 1st?
May 1st, yeah.
Yeah, May
Yeah,
1st, 2020.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. Derek, you send me pictures. Taylor, please carry on answering the question because it actually was.
I told you I had ADHD. I don't even know where I was.
that makes 5 of us.
Oh yeah, we were crying.
Yeah.
We were crying in December.
Tears were flowing.
Yeah, that we were in the I was that week I was gonna start looking into the process of permits for taking the Raven to Czech Republic, and then it was like, well, that's gone. Like, what are we doing? Are we even gonna go? Like, how are we gonna get this done if we don't have guns, right? So that was a really tough week. It was a lot of anger, a lot of like frustration, and you know, we considered, well, can we just pack up and move to the US? And you know, there's a lot of conversations that happen. But for that whole month, we just kind of, there's nothing that we could do, right? We were just trying to get information for the World Shoot on alternatives, because we had heard that they were going to offer some rental options, but those rental options were like the most basic blowback, you know, they were not a competitive option. Mm-hmm. It's like shooting what is that Turkish gun, like a Girsan M28 or whatever, their little cheap striker fire gun. It's like if you flew to nationals and rented that to shoot, like why even go, kind of thing, right? And that's when Justin and Everett, they got in touch with Da Vinci, because they were going down in January to shoot the Florida Extreme Open, and they were renting guns from him for that. And then we were able to lock that down. So that was one hurdle done. Mm-hmm. And then January, I think it was the first week of January that I got a text from Van from Apex, and he was like, look, JR of Sterling, he's got this new PCC coming that's not on the list, and he's like, I know him very well. Do you want me to ask him, like, if there's anything that he can do? And within a week, like, we were meeting with JR, and we got on like really good basis with him, and he let us use 2 of the Sterlings for training. So that was our training covered. And you know what, when I first saw the Sterling, the R9, I was like, okay, this is going to be, you know, okay, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to replicate what I do in matches with it. And you know, like, after we came back from Worlds, like, love everything Da Vinci did for us, but a part of me was like, if I would have brought that Sterling, like, I don't think I would have been at a disadvantage. Like, just the way that match was kind of set up, it wasn't the USPSA like quick hosing back and forth, a lot of quick targets. You need a super light gun and like a world-class trigger. Like, yeah, it would be nice to have a good trigger, but you're making a lot of these shots that you're not splitting like a 0.10 split or something like that, right? So no, that the training that we got with the Sterling was like life-saving. Like, yeah, it wasn't exactly what we were used to, and like it's like an MP5, right? It's got the MP5 mag release, so, and the mags didn't fit in our pouches, so there's a lot of stuff that you can't train with it. But getting into position and making long shots at 50 meters, that gun is a tack driver, way more so than what we experienced over in Czech Republic. So like, I got home and I pulled out the Sterling because I'm like, did I just suck at? Am I just a bad rifle shooter? And I took the Sterling out, and I've got the Apex, what is it? The Vapor, that their little 1-4 that's coming out. I've got the prototype for that. So I zeroed it, and I pushed the group like,
son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, I do. I love it.
We're gonna jump you after this. We're gonna jump through the screen and steal it from you.
Yeah, like I punched like a just under 2-inch group at 50. And I'm like, okay, I can shoot. Like, I know for PRS guys, that's not great, but for a PCC, that's amazing. So, the training for long range stuff, that was invaluable with the Sterling, and it's one of my favorite guns now.
They are so much fun.
So
and they look better.
And they look so cool.
MP5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hate PCCs when they have the Glock mag that sticks out at like a really weird angle. Like, that looks unnatural to me. I don't know why. I hate it.
Yeah,
well, that's because it isn't natural. Yeah, it does look weird.
It wasn't made for that, right? Like, it's not usually a problem. Like, I mean, I will say, of the 14 long Glock mags that I've had to retire a few because eventually the feed lips do wear out, and it's a plastic mag with a little tiny 1/8 steel insert, right? So you step on it, you get banged around a bunch. You do have to retire the mags. These MP5 mags, I could like use it as a blunt force weapon, and it's not gonna get damaged, right? Like, they're really, really robust mags.
Without mag restrictions, it's possible that you would have to use it as a blunt force weapon.
Yeah, it'd be nice for it to be a little heavier, like 20 rounds heavier. But
I see what you did.
I see what you did there.
Standard capacity. We should stop. We should stop with the bad nomenclature.
Yeah.
30 is standard.
The normal mag.
Yeah.
So
let's dictate the conversation.
Let's talk about your Sterling. When you first got it, and when you first started shooting it, what are some things you kind of tweaked with it?
Well, this the first thing was the trigger, because we were like, okay, this is a mil spec AR-15 trigger. That would have been hard to compete with, right? Just because you can't. For one, it's hard to make precision shots with a trigger that heavy. It was like 8.5 pounds, and it was like it's a mil spec trigger. It's made to be replaced if you want to shoot it, properly, right?
Yeah.
But then the way that the bolt is made, it can't take most AR-15 hammers. So my Hyperfire, I dropped it in there. I'm like, oh sweet, it actually fits in the lower. And then no, it's the little recess that's been like T-slot cutter chopped out for the hammer is like, it's half the width of a Hyperfire hammer. So I took it into the shop because I'm a machinist, and I milled it out. So I'm like, okay, yeah, if I just get all this material out there, my hammer can drop on it. And then I realized it's actually, the firing pin is just slightly higher than an AR-15, or that's the conclusion I came to. And my hammer still wouldn't set off primers. But for some reason, the trigger techs do. And so Tristan, he started tinkering with his trigger techs, and he got it to work. And so he dropped off a couple at our place, and we threw it in my gun, Mel's gun, and it was awesome. Like that. Now we have, that would have been world shoot capable, but it's still a prototype. Like he ground down a whole bunch of the hammer, and it was like there's file marks all over the.
It had to be modified.
It's a prototype for him.
Yeah,
heavily modified. Like chop a lot of material off, and he's pulling like
still that would be
springs
pretty
out of one
sweet.
pack, and yeah,
that'd be pretty sweet having a trigger tech in one of those things. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and I think that the new set of bolts coming in the next shipment with the R9s, they are modified to accept AR-15 triggers. That's what Tristan passed on to me from JR. So that's kind of one hurdle cleared.
I've heard he's
Yeah.
been working on that for a while. Yeah, he needs to be able to keep them on shelves long enough, meaning prevent the government from telling him he can't put them on shelves.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm honestly kind of surprised that they're still available. I was expecting that, I get back from Prague and my gun's banned again, right? Because they just throw stuff up on the FRT list every day.
Well, luckily
so
it's
I'm
not.
Really happy.
Luckily, the FRT stuff is always if they can call it a variant of something else, and it's unique enough that they can't really do that. And the only other benefit, I suppose you could call it, is that they kind of have bigger fish to fry at the moment. So, I guess thank God for small miracles for the time being, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those. Like, it sucks, but what sucks more? Like our economy sucks so bad that they're distracted to deal with that and all the other crises going on in the world. But I mean, like that's also sucks for our daily lives too. But at least they're not going after more of our guns yet.
Yeah. Right?
Well, I mean, they are. I mean, they've got the Secretary of State for friggin' nature up there making grandstand posts in Parliament about guns. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? So I mean, it's definitely still on their radar, and I think that everybody's hopes that what's her name from Polly Sasuvia? What's her name right now? Natalie Provost would be relegated to the back bench. Those hopes have been dashed. I mean, the question had nothing to do with her, and she stands up as the Secretary of State to answer firearms questions.
I mean,
Actually, it was a question about crime. She just answered it as a ban guns from people.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta understand that's been her career for the last 30 years. So she's kind of a one-trick pony. So I wouldn't give her
Oh, sure she
credit,
is.
so.
But I mean,
Yeah.
So stimulate your local economy. Go buy a Sterling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I said,
do
they're
that.
shipping out on a regular basis now. So buy one for your wife, buy one for your kids, and buy a second one for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and you know what?
plan.
It's a PCC that I like. I wouldn't just get it because it's the only thing available. It is like, especially for like the brutality matches that they run out in BC or did. I hope that they still keep going. That would have been an excellent choice for that. It's a very reliable gun, and it's got the dust cover. Like it's well built.
Oh yeah.
Sure, it's part of it's manufactured in Turkey, but like the the tolerances on everything are what I would expect to come out of a shop in Alberta. So I was really impressed with the build quality of this gun, and especially the accuracy. The accuracy is better than my Raven. It's better than most of the PCCs that I've seen people compete with in Canada, even before the December ban. So it holds its own. It holds its own.
Well, that's really all people
Turkey.
need from a Canadian manufacturer. Like, really, or a Canadian company, period. Who really gives a shit where some of the parts come from? If people knew where a lot of the parts were coming from in some of their major manufactured, accessories and guns, then nobody would ever buy anything. So, just because they're being open about some of the parts coming from a certain place, it's kind of it's a baby dick argument as far as I'm concerned.
There's a lot of legacy brands that are made in Turkey.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, and Turkey's not a horrible manufacturing center. Like they're getting better. They are getting better. And what I always tell people is like I said, I'm a machinist. We took a look at a bunch of parts. Like I was fitting a new slide to my Shadow 2, and I was showing my boss, and he's like, "How much did you pay for the slide?" Okay, $400. He's like, "If this came into our shop, I could not charge less than like $1,500 until we had like, 1,000 parts on order." And that's just the case in Canada. Is if you want to build a gun like the R9 here in Canada, even if you're getting 200 guns a month for the first few years, that gun is selling for $3,500 minimum, and you might not even be making a profit on that. right? That's just the way that manufacturing works in a small market. You pay so much in programming and R&D and warranty centers and material, like especially now with tariffs on steel and stuff, like it's just, you can't make money and make people happy with the price. It's just not possible.
Yeah, that's reality we live in.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some other changes you did to tailor the get punny tailor the Sterling to Taylor? Did it?
I should get Mel to go grab it.
Wait.
You want to go grab my Sterling?
Oh.
Yeah.
Mostly cosmetic stuff. Well, not cosmetic, ergonomic stuff. Like I always use a Magpul K2 Plus grip on everything rifle. So that I just threw that on. That felt right at home for me. And like stock wise, I always use the Magpul STR for, I mean, I used to use the CTR and then I moved to the STR, and it works. It's comfortable. I get a good cheek weld. So that was another thing that I put on. I think my old stock is back on it now because I think it went on where did I put it? I think I was showing off my other Raven, my 5.56 Raven, and I threw it on that temporarily. But I don't know if I did anything else. I think I put an anti-walk pin on my trigger. I think Tristan's got my trigger now because he's tweaking it again. We wanted to put like carbon fiber handguards on ours, and then we realized that they're the handguards and the barrel nuts, I think, are AR-10 spec. They're not AR-15 spec. So
yeah,
I was going to borrow Everett's carbon fiber handguard, and then I try and put it on. It's like, man. But it's because it's a descendant of like the R18, right? And the R18 use an AR-10 barrel nut for the piston clearance.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's your
Nice.
paper.
Off-screen delivery.
That's off-screen delivery.
Yeah.
So this is currently the home defense R9. So I've got my fusion offset there, and then I've got the Vaporon, and I got my old cloud defensive. This is a blunt force weapon. You could beat someone to death with just that. So
it's purely for recoil management. More weight on the gun.
It's all recoil management.
Yeah.
With that integrated barrel shroud on there, if you did bludgeon someone with it, it would make a nice tuning fork sound.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
And that barrel, like, I don't know if you guys follow, practical shooting PCC, but in the US for the last 6-7 years, they've been doing like either pin and weld short barrels with a long flash hider, or like something that obnoxiously long just in a compensator so that they can get their weight down and their velocities more consistent. And I was asking, like, we were trying to figure out if that was legal to do on a non-restricted up here, and we kept getting an answer, no, it's not legal. It's it has to be rifled, like the barrel has to be rifled. And then when JR came up with this, I asked him, I was like, how the hell did you get away with this as non-restricted? He's like, it's not rifling. It just has to be one piece of continuous material. That's why the pin and weld wasn't okay. So this, even though like compared to like a competition rifle, it's a little bit heavier, just that it feels like I'm, whipping around a Mark 18. That's what it feels like in the house. So yeah. Awesome choice there, especially for competitive shooters, right? Who want to get a more wieldy PCC while still keeping it non-restricted, right? Like my 9mm Raven is restricted because I wanted like the most competitive platform that I could have, and then it got banned, and I got a letter in the mail saying this gun is prohibited, and now I'm seeing the value of non-restricted.
Yeah, no shit, right?
And also that obviously that the barrel design, it's going to change your recoil a little bit. I mean, obviously most of your powder is burnt in the later half of that barrel, but if you have regular non-restricted length PCC, you're gonna have a little bit longer of a recoil impulse. So because that's one of the first things I noticed when I got to check out the Sterling factory and shooting it is the impulse was quite nice because I had a budget PCC before, and that thing was like shooting a rattle can. It was just like.
Well,
Wait a
so
minute,
many
I've never had a
PCCs.
rattle can make that sound. What kind of rattle cans are you using?
I did once, but I also ate some funny stuff beforehand.
Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. That's the sound when
Yes,
when you eat some bad South American food. That's your sound you're
Did
making.
it have Acme on the side too?
Anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
So,
I got to change subjects for a
Well,
sec,
and,
guys.
and yeah,
We know how
Sorry.
to
Yeah,
kill
go
a
for it.
conversation.
Carly, I don't know if she's still with us or not, but she was in here for a little bit. She made the comment that brutality is canceled. What do you guys know about that?
so essentially, the Brutality League, they had a summer brutality scheduled for as a Kamloops, and they actually had found a venue in Ontario that would be running it. However, due to low registration, they decided to cancel.
No kidding.
The league still exists. I'm hoping they do another winter event in both locations. However, it was low registration numbers. Hopefully, people kind of adapt and figure out something else to bring. I was actually scheduled to go this winter, but then fortunately things happen with work. So I'm hoping people kind of readapt and readjust and can be back in the winter. Obviously, the summertime, there's lots of other things competing for our time. So hopefully if they run more events in the non-peak season, hopefully they'll come back. But the organization is still there. Just that the summer events did not have enough registration to run.
Out of curiosity, what were you going to use at the event?
I actually have a Ruger American that I rebarreled to 300 blackout.
Oh, you're going to take that? Nice.
Yes, and I got the Apex Edge 1 to 10 LPVO on top of that.
You
However,
bastard.
I'm waiting for that vapor to come out. So, Carly,
know.
if you're listening,
My Sterling is waiting for the vapor to come out also. Yeah.
yes. So that was the plan. Also, the
really big fan.
other contender is the Canuck Wrangler Boss in 357 mag. So, got
You were going to
the-
use both?
no,
or
Hey.
this thing.
or that thing. Also, a great contender too. And also, Sterling was out at the winter event. I know they were running a booth. They had a stage gun, was a Sterling Arms R9. They had for one stage, and also they were giving out hot chocolate. So, thank you to JR and team for doing that last year.
Great
So,
dudes.
yeah.
I don't know exactly what Carly's referring to here, but she says looks like some final approvals were happening. Is she talking about the vapor?
I hope she's talking about the vapor. She better be talking about the vapor.
She's got to be, right? I'm going to assume,
Yes.
unless she types something else, I'm going to assume she's
Yes.
talking about the vapor. Some final approvals.
Yes.
Meaning they're figuring out how to engrave my initials into the reticle.
Oh,
Most likely.
Whoa.
And yeah, she did say that it's the vapor she was talking about there.
Excellent. Excellent.
Taylor, this is your chance to tell the people of the world something that you wish that they knew that they don't know.
oh man, putting me on the spot like that.
I am, that's right.
Ah,
We're looking for something extremely profound or hilarious.
I wish. Okay, this one's gonna go out to every gun owner in Canada. I wish people knew how much better you can get at shooting by just showing up to an event and talking to the people who are there and making connections and socializing and then just shooting, even if you're not good at it. And it doesn't matter if it's PRS, rimfire PRS, IDPA, IPSC, 3-gun. Like if you
Skeet trap.
want to get
something else,
better
yeah.
at like if you want to get better at whatever gun you're shooting, like go seek out competition shooting. Like the nature of these sports is that the best people are gravitating towards them, and they practice and they learn all the stuff, and you are going to learn from them just by watching them, just by talking to them. And there's just so much information that people can gain even just by showing up. Like I have so many people that I know who they just want to be a gun owner on the side. Like I want to go to the range when nobody's there, and I want to do my thing and I want to go home. Right. Like there's such a huge community out there that are always welcoming in my experience. Like I've been to 3 gun matches. I've been not IDPA yet. I have in the States, IPSC, 3 gun, the Rimfire PRS. I've never been to an event where people were not like scrambling over each other to help you, right? If you had a question, right? Like you're new to the sport, you ask a question, you get 10 answers right away, right? So like and that just helps us grow as a community. I wish more people were not scared to go out to the range and meet people.
That's
Are
good.
you asking gun owners to be extroverts?
I am. And I'm not, even though my fiance will disagree with me, I'm not an extrovert. I'm autistic. I can talk about guns all day. If you put me in a room with a bunch of people who don't shoot, I will not say a word.
I'm just thinking when my first thought that comes to mind when you make a request of gun owners being more extroverted and more social, I'm thinking like why couldn't you have asked for something simple like and easy to achieve like world peace? This is the way I feel about
Can't
it.
be that easy.
Yeah, but we can certainly try, can't we?
Exactly.
We can. Yep.
And I got to bring it up.
The shooting community is
we actually
one of the few. Can I go there?
You're
Can I finish?
Can I
finish?
Can I finish? No, I was gonna say
Someone
like
else
the
should
shooting
finish.
community is one of the only places where you be like, I'm new, and people are like, here's my $10,000 thing. Please go play with it.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue.
Children, stay away.
You won't see that in racing. I can tell you right now.
I've never seen a titanium piercing before.
Chris.
Sorry, I had to take it there. I had no
Yes.
choice.
Anyways, we talked to Tristan a number of episodes back, and one question I asked him is obviously he's was a skeet champion, and I asked him, what's kind of some transferable skills from skeet to like speed steel race guns, and he thought for a while, and then he brought up just that initial point and target acquisition. So learning even like something you wouldn't think would transfer like skeet to race guns, he picked up a transferable skill that helped him out at that time. So you may not know what you're actually going to learn, but you're going to learn something. And what you don't know you're going to learn might be the best surprise.
Yeah. Yep. And you can always learn something from a different shooting sport. It may not be something that you think is valuable, but you're going to learn something, right?
Yes.
I've never shot like NRA bullseye before, but I bet you I would learn something if I went to one of those matches.
Definitely.
Okay, we got a quick question here from Sean German-Root. He says, will Ballistically Speaking podcast be broadcasting live at King of Tutu this year? King of Tutu interests me, but I'm very introverted. That's very timely. I swear to God, Sean made that comment before the whole introverted talk was happening. Anyway.
2 minutes ago, yeah.
Anyway, we're working on it, Sean. We're working on. We would like to be able to professionally broadcast more, and it's in the pipeline. We're working on it.
Parts have arrived.
We're trying to get some things done, and stay tuned. We don't know if we'll be like really fully up and running for King of Tutu or man, it's just the King of the Tutu. I love the name of that match.
Now what happens at the ranch stays at the ranch.
That's focus. or if we'll be ready for the Rocky Mountain Challenge, the Apex Rocky Mountain Challenge. We don't know, but we're working on it. Long story short, we're working on it.
It's not a simple it's not a simple process to pull something like that off.
Yeah, well, especially to do it reasonably well is not a simple process. We tried it at the Rocky Mountain Challenge last year, and we did it as good as we could with the equipment that we had. But I mean, like, we're streaming off of cell phones. It's all wireless. We're using like cell signal. We're doing it off of StreamYard. Like, it was a bit of a mess, and we dropped out. I think we did pretty good for having no additional equipment, just a little bit of gumption and a generator and a Starlink. But we're trying to do it better, I guess, is the long story short.
Yes. As for
We want to make it
live,
like golf, basically.
Maybe not so much, but however, the intent is, my intent is to film a video explaining the event, because unlike PRS, it is a little bit different format. So the intent is to film a video sufficient enough to kind of explain the format, show kind of what it is, so it's easier for introverted people to digest. But also an open invitation. If you're in the area, come out. We'd be glad to have you as a visitor and a spectator, and we could probably even loan you a gun to try out a stage or two. So,
you know what I just thought of?
Don't worry about
come
being
shoot.
good.
Show up and shoot.
You're not supposed to show up and just get first. That's not how this works. You're supposed to suck at your first match. So just accept
Unless your name's Francis.
That guy's a little crazy though, so he's an exemption. So,
Taylor, do you find that's an issue? Is like when you want to bring new people out, they're like, "Well, I'm not going to be very good."
I mean, it's pretty much everyone who's got a handgun is either in IPSC already or has no interest in it, right? Like, there's not a lot of people that I know who just haven't tried it yet. You know, just because handguns have been frozen for a couple years now. So there's a lot of people who are like, I would love to get into this sport. Like, even people that we just meet who aren't in the shooting world, and they hear what we do and they're like, oh, how do I get my kids into this? You know, how do I get into this? I'm like, well, you can't right now. So it's, you know, I haven't really had any experience with people like, you know, humming and hawing where I'm like, oh, you do really good at this. Most of the people that I've talked to, at least in the past, when you could still, you know, get handguns, when I was like, you should come try this, come out on Thursday night, and they do.
Yeah.
I'm telling everyone going to Rimfire PRS right now. Everyone who's like, I want to get into competitive shooting, I'm like, go do that. It's way more budget friendly than this.
Pretty
You're
low
gonna learn
barrier
some
to entry.
crazy skills, low barrier to entry, and it's growing really quickly, right?
And all you need is a factory Bergera, and you can do quite well with it. Shameless plug.
As long as you put an Apex on top of that factory Bergera, right, Mike?
I'm going to add to that. You need an Apex rival, and then on top of that, you put in a Fusion or an Ion on top of the rival, and then you're ready.
And on the other side, you put a Vapor. Yeah.
And then as backups, you need a March scope. You have to have a Sterling as a backup gun in case it fails, and then you need an EM custom build in case that fails. And then you need to get it rust blued by Ribstone Gunsmithing before the match. Who am I missing here? You need to drink bolt action coffee, because if you're not awake, you're not going to shoot.
Yep.
And while you're at it, learn how to shoot by going to a call sign 66 event. And am I missing anyone? Oh no, yeah, we got everyone.
And also your shotgun in the back window of your truck. I think it's got to be a Canuck and Canuck Wrangler Boss in the side passenger seat.
That is fair, but now we've double covered Odell, which I don't necessarily mind. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Taylor, do you have any last words?
Oh,
that's right. We're going to kill you after this.
It's okay. We're gonna fight to the death. We're gonna fight to the death over the Vapors.
While you're at it, what's your final meal?
Oh man, Final thoughts. Worlds was amazing. I love this sport. I love doing it. Looking forward to the next World Shoot in South Africa. We're training really hard for that. We got provincials next weekend up in Fort Mac. We got nationals here that I'm half match directing. I'm doing half the stages for it in July, and then we're off to South Africa in September. So it's a pretty busy year for us. It's like biggest year of shooting for us by far. Really excited for it. Really excited for all the support that we have from, all of our sponsors, FH, Double Tap, Apex, what? Oh, I thought she was talking to me. she's I'm probably gonna forget someone.
Don't interrupt now. This is final thoughts.
Shooting. We're overwhelmed by all the support we've got from everyone in our journey, and it's awesome to come on like shows like this and just talk to you guys about it, because I love talking about IPSC and I love learning about other stuff. So that's kind of my life.
Well, you're gonna have to come on after all that and let us know how that all went for you.
Yeah,
I'm curious to hear how your South Africa trip goes.
Yeah. Well, Czech was like the warm up, because Czech is a pretty safe place, and South Africa, it's like, yeah, you have to carry your gun.
Only if you're in an armored car.
Yeah. Well, and we got armed protection for us down there, so
you're golden.
That's taken care of.
You're golden.
Nice.
Hey, listeners, we have a draw going on right now for a fully custom 338 Lapua build by EM Precision Rifles. Did you guys know that? It features a Curtis custom action, an IBI 30-inch stupid heavy barrel. That's the official title. It's a 30-inch IBI stupid heavy barrel, fitted with a custom EM Precision muzzle brake and a Trigger Tech Diamond. A Trigger Tech Diamond Go Switch. That's the official name for it as well. It's a Go Switch.
Of course.
And that is all laid nicely to bed in a fully custom laminated stock by Rifles Refined. Each $20 entry can be sent by e-transfer to info@bspodcast.ca. Make sure you send us an email with your information, your contact information as well. Don't just send us the money. I mean, you can if you want, but I mean, send us another email with your entry info as well. Be sure to include your email address. Be sure to include your phone number. You can also do that in the comments of your e-transfer if you don't want to send us 2 emails. That way we know how to get a hold of you once we draw and you win. So the draw will happen once 500 entries have been received. I think we're several hundred entries in already at this point, aren't we, Kurt?
Yeah, 240 or something.
So we're just about halfway there. So make sure that you do that, okay? And while you're thinking about doing that, don't forget that working the YouTube grind pays less than a solar farm in a blizzard. That's the comparison that we're going with. If you want to support the channel directly, you can head over to storieedknives.com or cdnprecision.com. If you're out east, go to cdnprecision.com because the shipping will be less and you can pick up a Gardner knife. We think that this is one of our the best survival type / everyday fixed blade knives available for a very reasonable cost. Most knives that are kind of comparable to the steel that we've got in this thing are selling for a minimum of $200, and ours is only $100. So we're pretty proud of this guy. Please go have a look at a great knife. We're confident it'll be on your side for a lifetime, and it's easy to put on your side because it comes with a Kydex sheath, which is also excellent. And if you're still giving us a watch here, make sure you give us a thumbs up, give us a like, make sure you subscribe, follow our YouTube channel, follow our Instagram page. The subscribe is for YouTube. That's what they call it. Also, please check out the show, facebook.com/BS podcast. You can leave us a review if you want, say something funny, and we might reply to it with something funny back. You can go to bspodcast.ca directly to our website. You can find some of our content on there and other ways to contact us. And if you have any questions, you can email the show or you the show in general, info@bspodcast.ca. You can email Mike and Derek directly at banyak, BANYAK, at bspodcast.ca. We'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, a massive thank you to all of our sponsors and all of our listeners. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a show in the first place. We're talking about Shane, Steve, Miles, Carey, and Cappy, Duncan and Rob, Phil, Doug and Nisa, Vanya, Oscar, and JR. Thank you all an immeasurable amount, and thank you to Taylor Reich for joining us and talking to us about the PCCs and the rifles and South Africa and the Czech Republic and everything else that we covered, including his last words.
One thing we didn't cover is the last meal.
Yeah, last meal.
If you were to have a last meal, what would it be?
Oh, Mel just made an insane pork shoulder, and I would absolutely take that as my last meal.
You're only saying that because she's in the room.
No. You haven't tasted it.
What are the sides?
Bro code, man.
Bro code.
What are the sides going with that? Oh, I'm gonna go like full Southern. I'm gonna go with like cornbread. I'm gonna go with grits, and I'm probably
Green
gonna
beans.
go with definitely green beans. Got to have some veggies in there.
Mm-hmm.
Some pork
check
cooked
beer.
green
There
beans.
you go.
You got to do the green beans in the pork shoulder broth.
You guys be careful, Ukes. Ukes listening.
That's how they do it. That's how they do it in the real South. They every time I get green beans, there's a place called there's a veteran owned barbecue place that's in most of in the southern states. I think it started in Texas. It's called Mission Barbecue. If you guys ever find yourselves in the States and you find a Mission Barbecue, make sure you get the green beans. They do them in a pork broth with little bits of pork in them, and they're pretty good. They're amazing.
Okay, what's the dessert and what's the drink washing it down?
Oh man. Desserts.
Say milkshake that covers your drink and your dessert.
White cake.
That's
like
right.
I know I'm like so Southern right now, but like just white cake. I crave that so often. And then either bourbon or like probably that Czech beer that we just drank for a whole month straight.
There you go.
Got pretty accustomed to it. Excellent.
Yeah.
How about an apple
answers all my
crisp
questions.
Apple crisp is a good idea.
with an ice cream, with vanilla ice cream?
Yeah. You know, we got to do a food show, maybe like a special episode. We'll call it like Gobbles and Guns. Gobbles
more
is
like
the
a
only
turkey
G
shoot.
food. Yeah, I know it does, but Gobbles is the only G word that has to do with food that I could think of in short notice. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us this week. Make sure you do all the liking and subscribing stuff that we talked about earlier. We've got a lot of matches coming up that we're going to be at in one capacity or another over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Although we will have Vanya Kurtalitsa from Apex Optics on talking with us next week. There's some exciting things to talk to him about. So make sure that ballistically cooking. Oh, Carly. Carly comes in clutch with the field goal right between the uprights. Anyway, we'll see everybody next week.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Keep your sticks on the ice.
Thank you.
Stay out of yourself, bro.
This right here has the ability with a 30 caliber clip to disperse with 30 bullets within half a second.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS. Ballistically Speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.